Hello, welcome to number 5, Myth Busting Mondays. We are halfway through and I finally learned to say it. I've got a tree coming out of my head. So after last week's debacle of trying to do it outside in a different location, I have gone back to the comfort of my home where I don't think people are going to be creeping up on me. Well, if they are, we are in serious trouble. And we've got Millie this week with us, who's just sniffing me because I've just finished work. So she's just checking who I've been with and what I've been up to. So she's probably going to pop in and out knowing her. So this week we are going to do Myth Busting Monday on kind of stubborn breeds who won't learn very quickly, breeds who won't learn due to Millie, come here, rolling around on the sofa. Breeds who won't learn with food and aren't necessarily food motivated. So often in this category we're talking about your terriers, your bull breeds, English bull terriers, staffies to some extent, setters often fit into this category. Those dogs who aren't motivated by the traditional kind of positive reinforcement training methods, including food. This is a really interesting topic as a dog trainer, probably more interesting from me than for you, because now that we really want to be using more positive reinforcement methods, such as rewarding with food, playing games, lots of affection and interaction with our dogs, and moving away from all the more punishment-based methods, often finding a reinforcement that the dog will work for is a really important part of that process. So Millie will work for dust, basically. If she thinks that there's a food treat in your hand, she will work really hard and learn new things quite quickly because of it. Some dogs aren't as motivated by food. However, what you have to bear in mind is that to some extent, all dogs are motivated by food. If they weren't motivated by food, they would die, okay? And that is the biological basis of it. If they were not motivated by food, they would eventually stop eating and die. So they must be motivated by food. And like humans, I'm very motivated by food. I eat my breakfast whilst planning my lunch. I eat my lunch and then I'm already planning what I'm going to have for tea. And I like to know pretty much when all of those things are going to happen. And I know some people go, oh, I forgot to eat lunch. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I am not that person. I don't forget to eat. I am already eating my lunch as I'm finishing my breakfast. I'm that kind of person. I like food. I'm very motivated by food. But I know some people aren't. But at the same time, they do have to eat. And they are probably more inclined to eat one thing over another. So they might eat chocolate cake over crisps, whereas I would eat crisps over cake. So everyone's got their own little motivations that they would be like, oh yeah, I'll have some cake, but they'll be like, oh, I'm not so bothered about crisps. And dogs are the same. So sometimes it's just a case of purely finding the right food that they will be willing to work for. And we have to try a whole range. Like I say, my dog will work for dust, but sometimes will only work for liver cake or chicken breast or something. One of those kind of really top end treats. Some dogs really aren't that fussed by food, and you really have to pick your moments to train with food so that they are hungry enough. Often, terriers and bull breeds like to play tug, which we discussed last week that you can do, and you can reinforce their behaviour through interactions with games and get them to really tug and shake, because that's what they're motivated by. So sometimes we just have to work out what it is that that dog's particularly motivated by. So today, I worked with a beautiful rescue dog from Romania, I think. She is motivated by fuss, loads of fuss. She likes to have a belly scratch. So we're working on recall, no food whatsoever involved. She comes over and the only thing she wants is a really good scrubby type rub down, and she is happy as anything. And then you can call it and you do it again and again. So for her, she's not interested in toys and she's not interested in food at all, to the point where she will spit treats out. But fuss. Fuss is her big thing in life and she will do most things for it. So a lot of the time it's not that the dogs are being stubborn or that they're stupid. It's just that the reinforcer that you're offering that dog isn't motivating enough for them to complete their behaviour. So you have to look at that. The way that we measure intelligence in dogs is generally through how many repetitions it takes for a dog to pick something up. Collies are clearly the most intelligent. They pick things up super quick, probably quicker than most people can teach it. Your gun dogs, your Labradors, your Spaniels, those kind of poodly type dogs, they pick things up pretty quick, and it's how many repetitions does it take. So some quite clever dogs, Spaniels, Labradors, Poodles, can pick things up after maybe 1, 2, 3 repetitions of doing something. Whereas dogs that weren't necessarily bred to work with us, like independent dogs who were maybe sent off to do something on their own, and weren't bred to work hand in hand or paw in hand with us, are going to take longer to pick things up. So you have to bear that in mind as well when you're training a dog. Just because they don't get it straight away doesn't mean to say it's not being processed. It just means that that processing takes a bit longer. So make sure that you're using the right thing to reinforce your dog with, and make sure it's something that they love. Don't just go on, oh, well, I think dogs should eat chicken, so, or being reinforced by chicken, so my dog clearly isn't interested in food. It's working it out for your particular dog, and then looking at their breed. What was their breed bred for? Were they bred to work with us completely, side by side, and just listen to instructions? Or were they more independent, or like lap dogs, your pugs, Lhasa Apsos, Shih Tzus, who weren't really bred to work at all, and were just bred to look pretty and be with us and be a companion? They're not that bothered about listening and taking instructions and being reinforced. So you have to look at that as well. And that, all of that together will help you train your dog. And trainers such as myself, that's part of our job. It's not just this is how you teach it, but it's how to teach it to each individual dog. And once you've worked that out, then your training will be much easier. And sometimes that process can take quite a while to work through, but you just have to stick with it and work through it, so that at the end of it you're like, okay, so this dog is motivated by X, it's going to take them a little bit longer to pick things up, so I need to repeat consistently over and over again, and eventually I'll have a well-trained dog. Don't just give up on them because they are classed as stubborn dogs, or they're not motivated by things, or they're just too stupid to learn, because that's just not happening. Evolution just wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't survive, and humans wouldn't have kept breeding them if they weren't motivated by things that were of an advantage to us. So I hope that makes sense. If you've got any particular questions or queries, you can always post them below. No one tried to get me this time, which is always a bonus. There was no one creeping up on me in the woods, which I know a lot of you found quite funny. Thanks, that was great. And I'll be putting together a video for next week as well, on another myth. But if you've got anything that you've heard and you're not sure about, please let me know and I can cover it on one of these videos. All right, look forward to your comments below. Speak to you soon. Bye.